Justin's a loser, always has been.
Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today I got something for you very interesting here. We've got a guy on Instagram who has been digging through some of that suspicious smear campaigns coming from Protect Canada. Well, the guys figure out who it is, and it seems like there's been $6 million of potentially illegal smear campaigns against Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives. We got some new polling updates. We've got Donald Trump calling Justin Trudeau a loser, among some other stuff. Let's jump into this. Starting off this one, we've got some polling data here from Sharia Tees. Modeled out 181 seats for the Conservatives, 116 for the Liberals. As we can see here, NDP at 13%, 41%, and 30% for the Liberals. Got another one here, Government EXE posted. This is coming from 338. This one showing 41% Conservatives, 31% for the Liberals, with the Conservatives here at risk of potentially losing the majority. I don't know what's wrong with Canadians. Like, we've literally gone through 10 years of just the worst government in history. People just suddenly forget about this. Do we have this many delusional wingnuts in Canada? Apparently. Who knows? Election day will tell us, really. We also got this one too. This is a garbage poll. This one posted by Ryan Gerritsen here. It says it was Frank Graves of Ecos that said, what about Pierre? So Frank Graves made it his mission to, in a deleted tweet, that he would do anything possible to make sure Pierre Poilievre wouldn't win. This is a new Ecos poll. So once again, this is absolute trash data, but as you can see here, almost neck and neck. So Frank Graves doing his best here to ruin the reputation of his company. Congratulations. If you want to see the deleted tweet, you can pause it there. This is it again. Going to make sure you're never going to lead my country. I don't make idle threats. That's a pollster saying this. Next up, we got this one here posted by Melissa. We've got Ukrainian president says Trudeau is expected to visit Ukraine on Monday. Justin Trudeau will be one of 13 foreign leaders attending the summit on peace in Ukraine. Suddenly there's peace talks once Donald Trump gets involved. As Trump pointed out, he said some things that are pretty brash. But as he said, Zelensky had 3 years to make a deal. There's no phone calls. There's no attempt at peace. Now we've got Zelensky saying he'll step down. It means peace comes to Ukraine. Next up, we got this one here, originally posted by Rick Perkins, then by Brian Liu. It says, well, this is newsworthy. I mean, not to the gallery in Ottawa, but it is interesting to average Canadians. So what we're looking at here is this. I gotta make it big. Annette Verschoen, as in the head honcho of the Eco Green Slush Fund. As Rick Perkins said here, breaking Liberal Green Slush Fund head supports Mark Carney to the max. The head of Trudeau's billion-dollar Green Slush Fund, where Canada's Auditor General found almost $400 million of your money Liberal insiders funneled to their own companies, gave maximum donation. Like, she should be in jail. Why is she not in jail? You won't hear this on mainstream media because they don't want this to be found. In our next story here, we have some dark money getting spent on attack ads at Pierre Poilievre. So I pointed this out in the channel like maybe a week or so ago. I saw this on TV, this Protecting Canada. These are people who wanted to remain anonymous. Well, someone on Instagram has figured out who they are, and what they're doing here is illegal. They've spent millions of dollars illegally slandering, smearing Pierre Poilievre's image. So what you're looking at here is their TikTok page here. You can see these are active videos. Well, these ones are pinned, but here's the most recent one.
Wacko, fake, extremist, and a liar. Feels broke.
So you can see here, 5 days ago, they're posting this. So this account is still active.
Dark money funds attack ads against Pierre Poilievre. Now, this was 100% my find, original. I conducted this research, and the stuff that I found is just crazy, as they are operating this illegally, and I can prove it. Now, this is the Government of Canada website to find corporations in Canada. You can do a search or any title, any name that you'd like.
So we take a look at what he's saying here, federal corporation information. I looked them up. There's only one group here. You can see Protecting Canada Project. Here's the business number, the corporation number, all of this. It was registered in Toronto. And you can see the names here. We've got Ian Wayne, Zoe Lyons, Don Miller, Lisa Greaves. So what's most interesting about this that the guy mentions is it was incorporated in 2020, November 20th, but it was shut down on June 20th, 2022. So this, you can see here, certificate of dissolution. This corporation is no longer active, thus they should not be posting anything. This opens them up to potential lawsuit, personal liability, because this corporation is no longer a functional corporation.
And here's the public record that you can download to get the actual information about the corporation. Now, Ian White was one of the directors on the list that I just...
Ian Wayne, he was the first guy on there. You can see Associate Monk and Associates. So that's where this is going. We all know, if you've been watching this channel, Kathleen Monk, as one of the panelists on CTV.
Showed you. Let's dig into who he is. Now, just above my head here, you can see that he was part of the NDP party. And he also works for Monk and Associate currently. And who is Monk and Associate? Well, the owner of that company is named Kathleen Monk. I'm sure a lot of you know exactly who she is. And as you can see here, election monitoring is one of her skills. Now, Kathleen Monk has 20 years of experience in journalism, politics, and nonprofit sector. Kathleen is principal at Monk and Associates.
So you can see here, Kathleen Monk appears on CTV Question Period, Power Play, Front Bench. She was on The Insiders, CBC's National with Peter Mansbridge, etc.
Director of Communications for the NDP, Jack Layton, serving as spokesperson on War Room Director for the historic 2011 federal campaign. So it's about to get deep. So now we got Ian White, which was part of the NDP. We got Kathleen Monk, which has a lot of ties within CBC, CTV, and the NDP. So now you see where I'm going with this. Now let's see where the illegal part of all this comes into play. And if you want to check out our website, that is it. There's not even anything in the menu. That is it. Now, Protecting Canada has several social medias. This one is their Instagram. Not very many followers or likes, and all their videos have very low commenting, not a lot of engaging. Then there's their TikTok. They don't get a whole lot of views. They don't have a whole lot of followers. They also have a Twitter.
As you can see here, just like a week and a half ago, February 14th, they're posting more of this stuff. They're driving around with a vehicle with the billboards running on it, one of these things like we've seen Rebel News use. So they're very much active, even though their corporation is dissolved, which is against the law. I looked it up. And even here, a post 6 hours ago from Protecting Canada. Full on fear mongering, eh? And as we scroll down here, someone has posted this video here, so they can't get away from this.
Now they do have a YouTube, and this is where things get fishy. So they only have about 680 followers. Now, all of their videos have like 1 million views, 2 million views.
Here's Protecting Canada. We can see here 700 subscribers. Yet if you look at their videos here, 1.9 million, 2.8 million, 2.1 million. They're spending a ton of ad buy to get these views. And you go down here, 2 million, 900K, 550K, 1.7 million, etc., etc. And the ones they don't spend money on, 500 views.
Pierre Poilievre wants you to think Canada sucks. But his fix, it will leave you broke.
Now let's get into the dark money. As you can see here, this is their Facebook page. They don't have a whole lot of followers there as well. Not a whole lot of a gain. And one thing I know because of my own company is how to look at competitors' ads that they're running. You can go to their info page here on anybody's Facebook who's got, some sort of page for business or whatever, and it gives you a whole bunch of information. And then you can go into here where it says page transparency and click on see all. And then you got people who manage this page. As you can see, there is 12 people from Canada. Then there's one person from the United States.
Something to note too, this corporation is a non-profit. They're accepting donations still, even though their corporation is dissolved. There's a bunch of things here that seem to be highly illegal.
Now, I can't find out who those are, but down here you got the ads on this page, and you can see the full ad library. You can see that they have 610 results. They've ran 610 ads. And here they have 12 ads that are currently running. We got this one here about $799, which is, typical for a business. This one here about $1,500. This one here for about $15,000. So we're not talking small money here. Another one for $6,000. And that is just 4 out of the 12 ads. So you kind of get the idea of how much money they are spewing out to get very little engagement back just to put out these smear ads about the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre.
This is crazy. 600 ads over the past couple of years. They've been running these smears for a long time. They've been running them with the corporation dissolved for the last couple of years.
Canada not for profit. So that means that is a non-profit organization, which is why they can get in big trouble for what they're doing. And you'll see in a minute. Incorporation date was November 20th, 2020.
So this guy goes on to talk about how they're running ads earlier, basically attacking Aaron O'Toole. And now they've switched those to Pierre Poilievre. They dissolve the corporation, but they're still running attack ads and accepting donations through the corporation.
It's dissolved June 20th, 2020. Anything that they do afterwards, using the name, the brand, the website, taking donations under this is all illegal. So basically, estimated spending for each single ad campaign is anywhere from $6,000 to $7,000 when you total them all up. And then you have the estimated total spending on Meta ads is between $3.66 million and $4.27 million on 610 ads. So this isn't small money. Someone is funding this, whether it's people's donations or some other party that is funding this. Someone is funding this, and it's big money. For the YouTube campaign, that's an estimated spending of $600,000 to $2 million. So now we're sitting at about $6 million just between the two platforms, and that's not mentioning the other platform. We know Ian Wayne was formerly associated with the NDP party, now working for Monk and Associates, which is related to Kathleen Monk, which has connections with the CBC and CTV and political campaign consulting and government relations. So we know that there is something shady going on here. And to make sure, I did a search on Elections Canada for both of their, like you click in Protecting Canada, and there is no results. Same with Monk and Associates, 0 results. So they're not legally allowed to do any ads unless they have a different corporation, but they're using Protecting Canada as the brand to take donations and to post this stuff. So regardless of who's backing them and who's legally going under the elections campaign, it's illegal because you're doing it underneath the wrong corporation name that has been dissolved. And if you go to the website where it says donate, you can give any amount, $5 to $500, and to make sure that it's them paid for by Protecting Canada, which no longer exists. So they're illegally accepting donations and using it within political advertising, which is against the law, which is failure to register as a third party can result in fines or criminal charges.
It says fraud, financial misuse, Canada Not-for-Profit Corporation Act violations. This seems pretty serious. It's not like they're spending $10 on here. It's like $5 to $6 million.
Fraud and financial misuse, also financial crimes and anti-money laundering. Proceeds of crime acts, suspicious funding sources, millions of dollars in advertising spending with no clear financial source raises money laundering concerns.
This is just absolutely appalling. Like this level of attack ads and doing it out of a defunct corporation, like it just doesn't make any sense. I have a feeling that Kathleen Monk's going to get quite a few comments about her in Vassie's next video on CTV. There's no low that these people won't stoop to. That's what we're really peeling back here in the stinky onion here in Canada. There's a rotten core. When you look inside, it's the NDP Liberals. More corruption, shocking. Yeah. So if it's illegal, report it. I mean, so this guy has gone ahead. People have gone ahead and reported this. So no one was arrested or held accountable. Things are operating as designed. Yeah, no kidding. Next up, we got Donald Trump calling Justin Trudeau a loser multiple times.
We won the first game. The second game was a great game. It could have gone either way. Justin's a loser, always has been. And, you know, he's just a guy that really doesn't. I think he's done a very bad job for Canada. He's taken it radical left. Justin's sort of a nice guy, but he's a loser. We won the first game.
So he's talking about the hockey game there. Sort of a nice guy, but he's a loser. On this episode of Far Off Ripoff, we got 2 entries here, and I've been digging around doing this for a while, but the credit for these ones actually goes to Rebel News. They found these $2 million for this one, $2 million for this one. These are both for cricket farming in Cambodia. You can see Veterinarians Without Borders. If we go down to expected results, Agro will support women and girl farmers, women's groups and associations, blah, 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 blah. You can see here, climate smart food production diversification, including cricket farming, chicken farming, cattle farming. And if we go to this other one here, we've got more cricket farming. You can see this is in 3 districts of Battambang province in Cambodia. So we're paying $4 million for women to farm crickets and eat crickets in Cambodia. Thanks, Trudeau. Thanks for nothing. Next up, we got this one on Juno News. It says border agents granted enhanced powers to revoke temporary resident documents. It says here, granted additional powers to cancel temporary residence visas and electronic travel authorizations. The change comes as Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government has reversed course on their approach to immigration policy as high levels of immigration population growth have become increasingly unpopular. So what I think this really is, Trudeau doesn't care about the border. I mean, he made the rules, the laws lax in Canada. This is just him posturing, an easy thing to do. That's something they can do with the government prorogued, trying to put on a face for Donald Trump that he's doing something at the border. So this is pretty interesting. DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency in America, they're putting out a call for help. It says DOGE is seeking help from the public. Please DM this account with insights on findings and fixing waste, fraud, and abuse relating to the Internal Revenue Service. They're asking for tips from the public. This is unbelievable. They're really going to clean up the problems down there. And to round out this episode, we've got this one here. Peter Hitchens tears net zero to shred to the dismay of the BBC panelists. So this is in the UK here. Just check this out.
What do people actually think they're achieving? Anybody can look at it. It's called the energy dashboard. You can get it up on your computer anytime and see on a normal day in this country where the power which is lighting your home and your place of work and everything else you see, where it's coming from. And on a day when the wind isn't blowing, it's largely coming from gas. or it's coming from imported power, which quite often comes from the Netherlands, where they still burn coal. We don't burn coal anymore because we didn't just close down our coal-fired power stations, we blew them up. We were so certain we were right to do so. At the same time, China is, even as we speak, building the equivalent of two new coal-fired power stations a week. India has a vast expansion program of coal-fired power stations. Even if George is right about his tremendous predictions of apocalypse, even if he's right, the contribution which this country is making by what it's doing to these outcomes is not merely minimal, it's non-existent. Everything that we do is completely blotted out by what other, much larger countries are doing to maintain their own power. Now, if you want to live in a country with net zero, if you want to live in a country where nobody can afford to heat their house, where people have incredibly expensive and largely non-functioning heat pumps inflicted on them, if you want that kind of thing to happen to you, if you want lots of people to lose their jobs because there's no energy, if you want to be cold all the time, if you want the computers which make life possible in practically every form of life to shut down every so often, then carry on believing that the demand to go for net zero, to keep it in the ground, is intelligent and thoughtful.
This guy's ripping them straight. Check this out in the crowd here. We've got this character here wanting to ask a question. Teacher! Hitchens is spot on here. Net zero is economic and social bad times and falls under the climate scam. The zealots pushing it do not have a clue about real life and real people. It's the same thing here in Canada. I mean, that's why Mark Carney went over there. It was a ripe environment for him to operate in as the governor of Bank of England. 30 years ago, China figured out they could never win a conventional conflict, so they attacked us within. Instead of the pow-pows and the pew-pews, they use DEI, multiculturalism, environmental justice. Corrupt politicians are more than happy to take their money. This is the UK saving the planet. Yeah, here's China's emissions. Kaboom. There we have it. $6 million being spent on these campaigns. I wonder if the Conservatives already know about this, or if they've dug into it or not. They more than definitely know about this Protecting Canada group, but maybe not all the details with that corporation being dissolved. We've got the first leadership debate happening today, later on today, the French debate, and then the English one tomorrow. Curious to see if Chrystia Freeland takes off the gloves for Mark Carney. Karina Gould will probably come at her. Karina Gould actually had a clip yesterday where she was asked on CTV about the election, and she said, well, at least I have a seat in the House of Commons. So she was casting some shade at Mark Carney. Is that all for show? Who knows? They're all a bunch of losers who are just wasting everyone's time. Call an election.